for joining the Indie Distributor podcast. I'm the host, Kevin Rogers-Kobus. I'm with a band called Shoemaker Levy, and also work with the Indie Distributor, interviewing bands about their process and their progress in the industry, and getting to know them a little bit better. Joined today by Anthony Rinaldi from Face the Lion, the epic band out of Barrie. Also, Adam Skinner is going to be joining us as well. But thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. It's awesome.
It's our pleasure. So the common thing that we normally kick off with is getting to know a little bit of the origin story, where things got started. You can go back as far as you're comfortable, but I'm always interested in finding out how things came to be in terms of how the band was formed and how those things kind of happened.
Yeah, I mean, so my origin as a musician, really, honestly, I've written music since I was a kid, but was like literally too scared to do anything about it for my whole life, really. Oh, yeah? I was too scared to sing in front of anybody. Any other musician I met, I always thought, man, like, why am I even playing? They're just incredible. Like watching you two play, you're as a guitarist, when I see you guys live, I'm just like, man, you guys are incredible guitarists. Oh, and immediately, like, I've always felt that little bit of, why am I even playing? Because there's just so many amazing musicians and talented musicians. And now that I've started this journey, I've definitely met so many amazing people and musicians. But I got to a point in my life where I was on and off with music, and just music just in my head all the time, writing these melodies in my head. And then when I got into about, I would say 7 years ago, I was like, all right, I got to do something with all these songs I've written since I was like, 10, 11 years old. So funny enough, my brother-in-law is Darren, who is our amazing bass player. Mm-hmm. And he married my sister. I think it's been like 13 years ago now. I think I could be wrong, but he's our bass player. And finally I just said to him, like, let's start jamming and see, have some fun and see where this goes. And we started jamming, and then we just started putting pieces together. And then, here we are 7 years later. It's been a wild journey for someone who had zero confidence in playing music. So
I love that story, because I think there's a lot to be said for artists that are just getting started that may have to overcome the hurdle of, ultimately, how did you overcome that? Was it something where, because I think you sort of touched on, like, I have to get these songs out, but was it kind of some of the impetus behind, like, pushing through it?
Yeah, it was a combination of like these really, really intense feelings of needing to, get these songs out. But I'm also a hairstylist for a living. Okay. So I talk to incredible people every day of my life, all ages. Yeah. And so when you have so many different age groups in your chair, and whether they're healthy or sick, and they're telling you their journey in life, I would question myself if something happened to me, what would be one regret, that I would have in my life. And that one thing was never, ever doing anything with music and never trying anything, because I just had so much passion and love for it. And that was the thing that just kept replaying it on in my head. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. If that's the one regret I'm going to have in my life, I'm going to do it. And whether I succeed or fail, it doesn't matter. Just do it to, I would say, to kind of complete your journey and soul in life, to kind of, make your soul happy. And that's kind of where I kind of started and kind of made that dive. And my brother-in-law, Darren, encouraged me a lot to go along with it. So it's been, like I said, incredible journey.
That is so cool. Yeah. I love that. And I think probably ties in a little bit to the next question I had was, the name sort of seems like a little bit on that theme, but what's the significance behind the name?
Yeah, pretty much facing your fears. Darren brought the name to the band. We took like probably 2 years trying to figure out a band name.
Oh yeah.
And he brought this one to the band. He saw this picture in a novel, and it was this child in a cage with 3 lions, basically face to face, and the child not scared at all. And it was basically facing your fears. What are your fears in life? And just face the lion, like face that lion in front of you. And that spoke to me. And I loved it right away. And I said yes. And he's like, yeah, I like it too. And then, the drummer and bass player are like, yep, that's it. That's ours. Cause we're all kind of facing our own fears in some way. And that's kind of that's how that kind of stuck.
Spectacular. It's always good when you know the thing, right? It's like, it fits across the board. You're like, yep, okay, we can make a decision now. But I also understand taking 2 years for a name. That's not uncommon either. So singles, you've been releasing some singles. I think there's 3 that I saw that are sort of somewhat recent, with Lies and Comfortably Drowning and All on You. Are they part of a larger EP or LP that's in the works?
Yeah, as you know, I mean, I'm sure you guys have so many songs that you would love to professionally record and finish a full album or even a 6 or 7 song EP. We all would love to do that, and we all have songs ready to go to record. We're just finished recording those 3 that you just mentioned and released in the fall with Kevin Dietz at Union Sound in Toronto.
Okay.
And we hope to get back in the studio as soon as possible to kind of finish the rest. But if it's delayed and we have to release another EP, we have enough songs for, a couple EPs right now. We have a bit of songwriting ADD. We just love, I think that's why we click so much, is we love to create, all 4 of us. That's what I love about the band, is I've always loved to create and play originals whenever we play. Although when we were playing Bracebridge Hall and watching you guys, and you guys played that live song and everybody was just singing along with you, I'm like, oh, you know what? We got to start playing a couple of cool covers, because you really nailed it, number 1. And number 2, you got everybody up singing and dancing too. So.
Thank you. I think it's interesting that what you said about playing some cool covers, making them your own. Yeah. Because that kind of takes away some of the, if there's any stigma associated with, well, we're an original band, but we don't necessarily want to start going down the road of playing cover songs. But as long as you're able to kind of put the Face the Lion stamp on it and say, this is the way that we interpret this creative work, then it might make some of those transitions a little easier and maybe give you a little bit more versatility throughout your set. But that's something I think that a lot of original bands anyway, wrestle with, For
sure. Yeah, you wrestle too. I mean, you as a singer and myself, you wrestle with the fact that as soon as you open your mouth for that first line, people are going to to mimic how they're singing the song or their tone of voice. It's impossible, right? So you're instantly it's not the feel of what they're used to hearing. So to say, to make it your own makes sense, because it's not going to be there. It's not going to be a Nirvana song. It's not going to be a live song. It's not going to sound like Kurt Cobain or Eddie Vedder or whatever. But if you can get people dancing and singing and whatever, going along with whatever you end up playing as a cover, it's a good feeling.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think, the part of the thing is, and this clearly, it's making sure that you continue to have fun with it, right? Yeah. Because as long as you're having fun and people are familiar with the material, and so they'll basically go right along with it, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hello, sir. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Nice to see you here.
Yeah, my apologies for the delay.
No, you're fine. All good. We were just talking about compiling some of the songs that have been written recently into a possible EP or LP down the line. I mean, it's still vote's still out as to what the final product is going to be. But I did have a follow-up question on that in that regard, and maybe Adam, you can weigh in here. But the sentiment around whether you feel you would rather release a full-length album, or do you want it to be an EP? I mean, have you had conversations like that? And is there a preference? I mean, what does the dynamic look like?
Anthony?
Well, I think we talked as a group about, what is realistic of what we can record for this year. For us, we all agree that we want anything that we record, we want it at the highest quality. So if that's spending a little bit more money, if it's just 3 songs right now, I mean, and we're happy, we're obviously happy with our engineer, Kevin Dietz. We've been using him for years, all 3 EPs. We've, recorded it at Metalworks and Union Sound. So, they're great places. I don't mind spending more money. I want it to be as good as we can get it. So we've had this discussion. It's like, what's best, because everything is changing now? Do you release and put all your effort into one album and it's gone like that? Or do you spread out some singles and keep yourself current and with social media and keeping the band kind of releasing new stuff every week or content? We chose the release a single every month to kind of keep it fresh kind of route.
The landscape has definitely changed in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Having the ability to continually come out with content. I mean, in theory, you can put it all into a full length, 10 song or whatever it happens to be album. And, that was more of like the CD gen, right? The tape generation, the album generation. But it still happens and it's still fine, and I'm okay with doing that. It's like, the question is I don't know if that's necessarily the goal, where we kind of basically are just writing songs, and as soon as we have a collection of songs that we're happy with, we just like jump in the studio with beats. And so that's kind of what we just did in this situation. But I mean, I'm not against going full length album. It's not, obviously we could just do that 2 or 3 times and then say, hey, let's just slap these all together and call it a quote unquote LP, a full length. But yeah, LP is in long play. I think that's what it was originally stood for, right? That's right.
Yeah. It's in a sense a lost art. We have had multiple discussions about it in our band, and we're probably more old school than not, just because still remembering the glory of sitting down with a record and having the experience of listening end to end and going through liner notes, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then again, this new crop of people coming into the industry have a different experience. It's almost like it's a more I don't want to necessarily use the word transient, but it's like it kind of is that transient exchange with music where they're listening to it doing something, going somewhere, or sort of consuming it in the midst of doing something else, as opposed to an assigned activity. And so it kind of it makes it a little different because we released basically 3 LPs. But the only physical one that we got made was the first one, Phase of the Days. The other 2 don't have any physical copies. So then it almost reaches this point to say, well, is there a point to doing this? And it's sort of
that's a big question mark. Yeah.
Always curious to find out what your feedback is in that regard.
I do really, really miss going to the music store every Tuesday and looking around and buying that new album that was released, and then sitting in my car, either going for a drive or just sitting there and listening to it, to the full album. And that experience, like that, I do truly miss, for sure.
It's interesting now because not only is that a different experience for people consuming music, but also when it comes to singles and how like the sort of rapid pace that people consume music in conjunction with other artists. So we're not, I read this recently, was you're not competing with other indie artists necessarily. You're competing with David Bowie. You're competing with Led Zeppelin. You're competing with the Beatles, right? Because my kids, I've got two girls, young ladies, 14 and 11. Mm-hmm. And the way they consume music is they'll have, their playlists are completely varied when it comes to new artists, indie artists, and then known
staples,
right? Yeah. And so that's where it's like you're competing for attention, but you're the playing field is so much broader now.
It's almost like a YouTube short versus a YouTube long form video, right? It's kind of like TikTok has consumed the attention, the short attention span, and the attention span is being trained to be shorter and shorter and shorter. Like I try to keep my kid off of the short form stuff. Anytime he gets to the shorts, I'm like, no, we're good. It's either long form or it's just not happening right now, because it's just
interesting
training the brain to just doom scroll and like they say that's basically shrinking our attention span quickly. So we have to deal with that landscape, which is obviously changing. So from now on, our songs are only a minute and a half.
Well, all kidding aside, the format, like the industry is leaning in that way and I think in large part because of what you're saying, that the tendency and the trend seems to be shorter attention spans, and so that's what the expectation is. However, there's always going to be the camp of people like, I would say us, but then also people that actually like long form content, like immersing yourself in a subject. And so I don't think there's ever going to be a situation where there's not a place for an LP or a 19-minute opus jazz odyssey style thing that, you know, presents a B-side to an LP that we always wanted to do, you know, those types of things. There's always going to be an audience that really wants to dig deeper into the catalog. So I mean, you know, there's hope, I think. So you mentioned Kevin Dietz and the engineer side, but do you also work with a producer for the songs that you're putting together, or do you do your own production?
We do our own, and Kevin helps us with it as well.
Yeah,
Nice.
Kevin's a great producer, so it's he pretty much wears two hats in that engineer studio, which is great. So yeah.
And what does the writing process look like for Face the Lion?
Well, Adam joined last year.
Yeah.
And so previously to Adam, I would, you know, write a tune, record it on GarageBand or something, and then send it to the guys, and then we would make it our own. But now with Adam on board, it's been amazing because I have a writing partner. He was the lead singer and writer in Atlantis Blueprint, which was an amazing band. And so I looked up to him as a musician. So I have a new writing partner. So now within the last year, we throw ideas at each other all the time, and whether it be lines for a song to finish a chorus, or whether it be, you know, adding a bridge to a song. It's kind of nice to shoot ideas back and forth. We're very similar in our style of what we enjoy by ear, of what we like to listen to. So it's huge for me because I'm learning a lot from Adam for sure.
Yeah,
So-
it's funny. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, mine's a longer question for Anthony, so you go ahead first.
I was just gonna say it's funny because Anthony and I we were driving down to a gig, and I was like, I gotta show you these cool new rock songs that I've heard, and every single one I showed him, he's like, yeah, it's already on my playlist. I already listened to it. So, so yeah, we definitely have the same interests and same likes, which helps with the writing process.
Yeah, I bet it does. The question was, because this is something that other bands likely deal with as well, but being the solo sort of songwriter, Anthony, and then working collaboratively with someone on lyrics as well as arrangements, have you found, what kind of adjustment have you made in your style, knowing that that's kind of the new way? So
Adam found out very quickly that I've literally, my only thing I really present to the band is my emotion that I can put towards something. Adam can kill his guitar and drums and whatever he touches, and vocals, everything like that. The only thing I feel like I really I have to write about is whatever my emotions are at that time. So to work with somebody like that to bounce ideas off of, it's been great, because sometimes you need to kind of construct more than just purely emotion. And I'm learning that as well. So it's kind of been a really easy transition, to be honest with you, because for me, it's not about what our band was before Adam. It's if we are going to be better and sound better, like I'm all in for it. If it's going to make, you know, the songs better and stuff like that. I've learned from Darren. I've learned from Nick as a drummer and being in past bands. My kind of focus is each year is getting better as a musician and more confident. And with Adam, I definitely in a year have had way more confidence.
You stepped up a lot. I was going to say that, and the interesting thing about what we just did yesterday, like, you know, we always jam on Tuesday nights, and we've really kind of found okay, we don't have a show coming up. This is going to be like an entire writing session, and so Anthony has this great new song, and we all sat down with it. And Nick is actually, he reminds me of a drummer from one of my previous bands, where Nick is really great at arrangement. So he'll say, hold on a second, you know, that we're doing 8 bars there going into that. Like let's cut it down to 6 and let's try this different thing. And we just sit there and we try stuff. We just tried stuff all night for hours and hours and hours. And we just like tweaked it until we're like, okay, that's, we gave everything its proper chance, right? Because you change something and then you go to try it and it's sloppy and you're like, that didn't feel great. And it's like, yeah, but we didn't even hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
Our rule is like give it a chance and see it and feel it.
So we're like, hold on, let's get it like 2 or 3 times until we get like superly tight hit it, so we can really tell if it feels right. And then we also record it too, so we can go back and listen to those different takes and see what actually makes sense. But it was really, and even Darren's coming up. Darren's like, the lyrics are a little too repetitive there. You got to try to tweak something. So we changed how the vocals are going to go, and so everybody's kind of throwing in their own thing for it, which is really great. So. It's been a lot of fun. And actually, in the initial stages, Anthony and I, the cool thing is that we both use GarageBand. I know it's like it's not that, we should be probably using Logic or something a little more advanced, but GarageBand's just so damn easy just to throw stuff together, right? So
nothing wrong with it.
And it's not like we're putting it out there, we're not like, it's not our production stuff. So the cool thing is like, I would write a structure and then I just send Anthony the whole GarageBand file, and then he put some lyrics on it, or vice versa. He'd write something and send it over to me, and I'd make some tweaks to it. So, so we've done that quite a few times, and it's been quite useful.
That's great.
Our last single, "All on You." I woke up one morning to a message from Adam with this amazing arrangement with no vocals, and Adam's an insane vocalist, and I was like, "That's weird. He didn't add vocals. He always adds vocals, right?" And he just wrote, "I need you to write lyrics to this." And so I had just lost a friend, and when I kept listening to it, I just kept hearing this kind of, song for my friend or whatever, and it just came together so quick. And it's been like awesome to kind of have that, to be like, I'm usually the one hearing the arrangements in my head, but this time I just literally sat in my car for weeks and listened to the arrangement he made, and I had to create a song without changing anything to it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't my guitar parts that I wrote, so it just
your lyrics are great, and the melody was great and everything. I was so excited when he finally sent back the track of like his vocals and stuff like that, and I listened to it like 10 times in a row, and I was like, oh yeah, this is good, this is great. So, and then I'm like, harmonies, and then I started to go down the harmony route.
Yeah,
and that's fun. That's just fun to me.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah, we got to do that more. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating to me always to hear various styles of writing and how things sort of come together. And nothing wrong with GarageBand. I mean, if that's your pre-production process and it's clicking, then there's no,
it's just easy. Yeah.
People shoot, voice memos back and forth. I mean, it's whatever works. Anthony, sorry to hear about the loss of your friend. I'm sorry to hear that. I have a question that has to do with, the interview that you did in 2011 with Barry Today, and there's a couple of references to lyrical sort of absence of substance in today's music, and knowing that that's a few years old now. Firstly, I wondered if that's something that you feel is shifting a little bit given the temperament of the time, or how does that affect your writing when you're putting things together, and do you feel like that trend is sort of shifting now?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, obviously there's so many amazing bands out there writing incredible music. For me, all I can say is that, like, I just kind of write with emotion, write what's like real to me. And also, for me personally, I use music as therapy. So when I drive home, it's always on. I'm listening to our stuff that we've written, or just in general, music in general. And I'll sit in my driveway sometimes for a couple songs, because I live close to my work. So I only get 1 or 2 songs in, and I'll just sit and listen to music. And that's kind of the basis of why I really wanted to become a musician, is that if I can make somebody feel good by writing music and sitting in their driveway and listening to a couple songs and feeling great after, that to me is like why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the power of music, is healing people. So when you have people come after your show and say they loved your music and, blah, 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 like, that to me is just an incredible feeling. Like, that's all I really want to do it for. It's just that if I could help other people the way music's helped me, then I'm doing my job. So it's, to answer your question, it varies. I find pop music on, the hits or whatever, I find it doesn't doesn't really engage me.
Mhm.
But then I hear local music and local bands singing, and I'm like engaged because I can feel their heart pouring out on the stage.
Yeah, I love that. I find that the comment struck me because it's almost like when trends occur and world events are happening, music sometimes is a mirror image to the sentiment of the populace. And we've gone through phases where it feels like music is, or at least the lyrical content, let's say, is I think the word you used was safe. It was too safe.
Yeah.
And now it's you know, I'm always curious to see, like, hey, has that evolved for you given sort of recent events? Not getting political, but
Yeah.
you know,
I would say like Lies is could be political.
Mm.
The song that I wrote, I didn't want to make it seem that way.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be you're just tired of people leading you in the wrong direction for their own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's where that idea came from, is like the lies people are telling you for you to go down the wrong path, but for them to benefit from it. But I didn't want to take sides of, you know, anything political, but it could be taken as political. But
Sure.
I made sure that it didn't come across that way, but you could just, you know, listen to the song and be like, have that something that's happened in your life where someone's taken advantage of someone's kindness for their own financial benefit or benefit in general.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we find that in some cases it's difficult to come right out with the explanation of what the lyrics, you know, was there an inflection point that originated where that came from? And sometimes it's almost a similar conversation to, which I think you touched on in that interview as well, when someone asks you, oh, what type of music do you play? And it's one of those questions that you kind of dread because it's like, well, I don't want to sound too presumptuous here, but we don't go for any one particular genre, right? I mean, I think that's probably similar in your case too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
yeah, it's like you don't want to label yourself under one thing, because I feel like, you know, someone might not say you're not grunge or you're not indie, or it's like we're just putting music out, and if you enjoy it, we hope you do. And
I just say rock. I'm like, rock band.
Yeah.
And then you get the question of like, oh, like screamo, and you're like, no, just rock.
Yeah, how many different classifications are there? There's like thousands. But
Exactly.
What's interesting is that on the other hand, the industry leans on you to say, no, you got to work on your elevator pitch so that people know what to expect. Like when you're trying to farm your music out to people that will take the hopefully more than 30 seconds to listen to what you're offering, and so that they're not surprised.
Yeah.
So how do you find you're balancing that when you're trying to describe to people, okay, well, this is really our sound, this is what categorizes us. Like, what's your elevator pitch?
I think, well, Anthony, I was going to say, like, I usually say our influences. So I'm like, we're rock, and then they're like, can you get deeper into it? I'm like, well, we're really influenced by like 90s rock. And as soon as I say that, they go, oh, okay. And then they kind of capture at least what we're trying to. I don't know if they were trying to go after the 90s rock thing, but we're just so influenced by it that it just comes out in our music. So as soon as I say that, people's eyes open up. So
I think too, like, yeah, you could say 90s grunge, but I always also say, like, you know, Adam and I love the Beatles and we love harmonies. And when he joined the band, it was like, all right, now I have somebody to sing with, and hopefully we knew our kind of voices kind of melted well together. And so, you know, to have that, we wanted that sound of like old school rock mixed in with grunge and just that soul. And so that's kind of how I explain it. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I like that.
On the vocal thing, last night, Nick's like on his phone, right? He's just sitting there like on his phone playing the drums, and we're just testing something out. And there was a thing where we were doing harmonies, and I was trying to find this right harmony, and it's tricky because he's at such a high note. It's like, where do I sit right below him, or do I try to go above it? It's way too high. And we're trying to figure it out. And also sometimes Anthony just goes, why don't you just hit the exact same line I'm singing, right? So as soon as we did that, Nick kind of did one of these, right? And then Anthony and I are both like, what, was it bad? Was it bad? And he's like, no. He's like, it shocked me how great it sounded. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we weren't sure. It was such a strong reaction. It was like, either it was really good or really bad.
You matched we
just matched. Yeah, we matched the exact same pitch. So we hit the exact same line, but we have such different voices, right? Like, you know, Anthony's got this like really gritty, awesome rock voice. And I'm like, I don't know, some sort of kind of crooner, a little smoother, right? But it's like a different tone to it. But we hit it at the same time. He just like jumped off his chair. Nice. So we're like, oh man, was that bad? That's our first reaction. Oh, was it that bad that you reacted like that? He's like, no, do it again. So,
Nice.
Yeah, so it was good.
Love those moments when things click for sure.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I'll ask what's next. What's on the plate for coming up in the next couple of months, few months?
Yeah, so we just finished playing at the Horseshoe Tavern 2 Saturdays ago. And
What a great room.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
it was great.
we've
Awesome.
been lucky enough to play there twice before,
Mhm.
but we're on during the week. So this was an amazing night to have on a Saturday night. And the room was great and the sound was great. And I thought we played pretty solid. And the 3 other bands, In Your Walls, 40 Hours Over, and Full Throttle were
They were
awesome.
great. They
Amazing
were all
people.
good. Yeah.
And so it was just a wonderful night, like from beginning to end. So what is next? We have a show at the Bracebridge Hall in March.
Nice.
And we we were going to play another show in Toronto, but we weren't be able to make it. And we're just kind of writing like crazy right now, to be honest with you.
Good.
Yeah. So we're debating like if we're going to get back in the studio as well and record a few extra tunes to add to the LP or
probably go 4.
something separate.
I think we have 4 new ones since the EP.
Yeah.
I think.
But we have so many other songs like from that we haven't recorded yet, unreleased, that we've had before with the other for about 5 years ago too, that we've always kind of play live, but we never had the chance to record. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have stockpile to draw from.
Yeah. We're hoping to have a busy summer with playing live. We just love playing live. So any opportunities we have, we had a good busy summer and busy winter. So we're just kind of now taking a little bit of time to write. And I know you guys as well, with your drummer being off for a little bit, you guys had time to kind of sit and write as well. And I think it's important to have those, not always jamming for the next show. It's like, let's take some time and write some songs, and whether revisit old ones and finish them properly or any new ideas. And like I was telling you before, like we got songwriting ADD, like any new idea, we just have to like work on for like 5 hours straight.
The shiny new thing. Yeah.
It's better than the alternative, which is not having, being kind of stuck for ideas.
Yeah, it's the feel of a band, right? It's I've always heard, and I've always said is like, if you're not writing new songs, then it starts to stagnate for really quickly, right? So it's new songs are critical. And it's even like sometimes you get stuck in those ruts. Like, I've had the moment where I bought like one of those the frustrated songwriter handbook kind of thing, and most of those things, what they do is they just get you to break out of your writer's block and just kind of, try to write 3 songs in half an hour. You know what I mean? So there's no time for you to think deeply about anything, right? You're just trying to like hammer something out, but it's trying to get you back in the vibe of just spitting stuff out and not worrying so much about, is that chorus similar to that song, or that kind of stuff. You just have to just spit it out as fast as you can. So
writer's block is a real thing, and that's a great point that you make, because in a lot of cases, I did this a few years ago, but I tried to do the 52 song project, which is like a song a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a bunch of shit in there, but there's some stuff that I go back and listen to. I'm like, wait a minute, I can grab this piece and put it over here, and right. So it's like there's a lot of value in doing those types of activities, just to kind of test your creative muscle and see what comes out of it.
Well, the song we were jamming to last night, I wrote on New Year's Eve. I just sat in my room for like 4 hours straight, and it was just like, those ones that just come out so easily. And then the band liked it, and I was like, it was like the best feeling in the world, like, because it, we wrote Lies, All on You, Comfortably Drowning, and they came out kind of quick, and then we were busy performing and stuff, and I kind of had splashes of ideas in my head, but this song just was on loop in my head all day, and I had to like kind of get it out, and then showing the band, and then we make it our own with everybody giving their ideas. And it was just, last night it was just so much fun. So I'm like, like that's the joy of being in a band, is when when we have a song in general, whether it be Adam's, mine, whatever, and just getting out there and everybody liking it and everybody feeling good about it. To me, it's just like such a wonderful feeling. So, and
everybody's firing all cylinders last night, which was great. It's like nobody was like, not that, not that bridge again. Everyone's just like, okay, let's try it this way, let's try it that way, let's go. There's no time to sit around and debate about it. It was just like, and then Nick just comes up with so many ideas all the time. He's like, wait, what if the ending, we didn't do that, but we did like these hits, and then we did this thing, and then we just sit there and we talk between the two of us trying to figure out the arrangement, and then we okay, let's tackle it. Let's try it 3 times until it sounds reasonable, so we can see if it's good.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think our writing process is becoming a lot more refined, because it used to kind of just be, we'd be like writing in between jamming songs, and then so we get to a certain point, and if there was a lull at all, we'd be like, okay, let's go jam the next song, but now we like actually dedicating an entire session to be like, we're going to work on that song the entire time. And it's just like, there's no rush. Everybody can just take a deep breath and try to work through these things. So it's a lot.
Yeah, this morning I was like, is this a really good song because it's on loop in my head, or is it because we played it for 6 hours last night? Like, when you just keep playing the same song over and over.
Yeah.
Like in my head this morning, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a good. I'm like, no, I think it's because we literally played it over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sign of a good song is that at the end of the jam, I make up 15 different brutal, funny versions of it that can never be repeated.
yeah.
And if you can expand on it, then that makes a good song. Is that what the process is?
Yeah. I mean, do you mean from the funny versions? No, those just me making literally fun of the lyrics.
But if you can't make fun of the lyrics, then no, we're not.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, if it's not stuck in your head enough on loop that you're making fun of the lyrics, then was it really worth it? So yeah, nice. That was a good sign. The whole time we're packing up all the gear, that stuff happens. It's a good sign. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that's amazing. So, any advice? Because knowing that this is essentially a podcast for indie musicians that a lot of them are just getting started, and it's an interesting sort of world out there for indie musicians, as we all know. So what pieces of advice would you impart to folks who are just kind of getting their feet wet?
Well,
Anthony, before you answer that, I got to pick up my kid.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I got a boogie voice, but I'm sure Anthony's going to have great advice for that. So
it was great to see you, Adam.
Kevin, it was great having me, and thanks. Great for you having me. Thanks for having me. And what was I going to say as well too? Oh yeah, sorry again for being late. That's on my computer. I literally did one of those things, the CC cleaner, and then it's like, do you want to delete all these duplicate applications? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And it literally pulled all of these files out of OBS and all this. Anyways, yeah, but I figured it out. Anyways, it's all good. Take care, guys, and thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, see you later. Bye bye.
Yeah, I think any artist, I mean, going from, being scared to sing in front of anybody to starting at, small venues and going up and playing live mics or whatever by yourself and just being nervous as anything. I think the thing is if you love it and you're passionate and you're open to learning and you're open to working with others. And, years later, like this summer, we were so lucky enough to play Kempenfest this year. And it was our biggest crowd. And, we opened for Colin James. And I look back, from 7 years ago, from when we started playing live mics to that, it's such an amazing journey. And I've met so many amazing bands like you guys and people and the community. I think the advice is if you just love it, it's not easy. It's a lot of work and time, but if you love it, it doesn't feel like that. It's just, you gotta put the effort in and just keep going at it. And if you're not in the right environment, you'll find the right environment if you like it and you're open to, wanting to get better. And that's my whole thing, is just learning, wanting to get better, wanting to put good music out, not being scared anymore, and just letting it all out, letting me be me, and hopefully people enjoy it as much as I love listening to music. It's a wonderful thing. And the cool thing, like I was saying, is the music community is amazing. Like I said, you guys have been nothing but great people for us, and encouraging us, and watching each other play over the years has been awesome. And I wish everybody good luck in their journey too.
Yeah. Well said. All right. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time. Can't wait to see you guys play live again. And I'm looking forward to what's next from Face the Lion for sure.
I appreciate you having us, and thank you so much.